Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is our Rice News analyst, Emmanuel Ifeni. Good morning, Malabite.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning, Mr. Fanny.
Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning.
Malabite.
Good morning, the ever-smiling Victoria Tundu MKO Abiola. Yes, Ruben. There's this greeting in town now. Eku and SARS. You know, there's always an Eku for something in Yoruba land.
Eku Sorosuke.
Yeah.
Now, let's start the newspaper review with these day newspapers, Nigeria's newspaper of records. Lead story, Showdown Looms as protesters plan lockdown of Abuja, Lagos today. Protests hijacked to destabilize federal government, says Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information. Lawan Gbajabiamila meet Buhari, ask demonstrators for more time. Defense Minister cautions against undermining national security. Nigerian Governors Forum, governors concerned about rising anger. Now, other newspapers reporting the story of the day. As Buhari Lawan, Daily Sun, as Buhari Lawan seeks solution, protesters plan total lockdown today. Mass action grounds Lagos, Abuja. Nigerians in diaspora compiled SARS victims' names. Now, if you look at the Daily Trust newspaper, #EndSARS, too much anger, hunger in the land. Governors, protests can hurt economy, should stop now. Lawan, those in streets against government, not anti-SARS anymore. Operation Crocodile Smile, ill time, 30 civil society organizations. We are not targeting end-SARS protesters. Army, that's the Daily Trust. The Vanguard newspaper, end-SARS, stop Army's planned Operation Crocodile Smile. CSOs tell federal government, say military should remain in barracks till protest ends. But there are other issues still in the news. Above the masthead of the Vanguard newspaper, there's a story. Salami trying to indict our client at all costs. Magu's lawyer cries out. Yes, Ibrahim Magu, the ousted acting chair of the EFCC, his investigation, now looking like a trial, is still on. And his lawyer is crying out that there is an attempt to indict Ibrahim Magu at all costs. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, lead story, end-SARS protest hijacked to destabilize federal Buhari government, says federal government. Buhari meets National Assembly leadership. Above the masthead, over 50 illegal aids planted in Gbajabiamila's office. You will ask, how is that possible? Well, according to the report, according to that report, the clerk of the National Assembly, who has just been removed, is said to be responsible for this. 50 illegal aids planted in Gbajabiamila's office. If that is true, then truly you say things are happening. But how is that possible? And it will go on for quite some time. Now, also beside the photograph in that front page, because other things are happening in the country, Ondo Deputy Governor Ajayi set to resign this week. Yes, Abiola Ajayi, the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, who you will say rebelled against his principal, withstood attempt to impeach him, contested on Zenith Labour Party platform, thoroughly beaten, you will say. Now he's set to throw in the towel and resign. That is part of what is happening in the country today. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper. No military force, Nigerians warn. National Assembly wants end to protest, federal government address demand in 14 days. Ethnic groups back agitations, OPC, that's Odua People's Congress. Ex-Senator Upai want restructuring. Now, if we look at the Tribune newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, yes, the lead story there, as NSAS protests continue, no peace without justice, Catholic bishops tell government. Of course, the clergy are also weighing in on this. The other stories underneath that, Anglican Communion bemoans wave of insecurity, corruption, exercise patience, Methodist prelate appeals to protesters. It's sacrilege to kill protesters. Bishop Oyedepo of the Winners' Chapel, Popular Winners' Chapel, negotiate with protesting youths immediately. Affair tells federal government. IGP lists qualifications of SWAT team as training begins today. Oyo sets up platforms to report police violence. Of course, the photograph on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, Clergy men at the Lekki toll gate conducting service yesterday. They are also lending their weight to the protest, if you will. Now, if we look at the foreign newspapers quickly, the Guardian newspaper of UK, hospitals in North running out of beds, leak revealed. The Greater Manchester could soon run out of bed to treat people left to treat seriously ill with COVID-19. And some of the region's 12 hospitals are already full, according to the report. It shows that Friday, that there's resurgence of the disease, and this has left hospitals in Salford, Stockport, and Bolton with little or no more capacity to take in patients. Of course, going to continental Europe, the Financial Times is reporting Europe's second COVID wave raises threat of double-dip recession. The European Central Bank bond buying is expected. New curbs to stymie recovery. Yes, the recovery we have seen for some time now is likely to be cut short by the rise of the COVID infections in Germany, France, the UK, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands. Only yesterday, Belgium also closed pubs and restaurants. Now, the Washington Post, a story that will worry us here in Africa. Africa faces an ISIS surge. The Washington Post is reporting spate of attacks contradicts Trump. Violence comes as the U.S. moves to reduce troops. According to this report, militants carrying the black flag of ISIS launched a daring attack on land and sea attack in the strategic port city of Masibua in northern Mozambique. And they have taken over a province there which they have declared as an ISIS province. You think that is far away from Nigeria? Days later, a band of Islamic gunmen rampaged through the famous wildlife park of giraffes in nearby Niger Republic, firing from a long line of motorbikes. I think that is something that should worry Buratai. The chief of army staff, instead of smiling with crocodiles, Ruben, Tundu, and Rufai. I don't know whether there's time for you to say one or two things.
I mean, we've always had security threats across the region, and because of this, you will know, obviously, this is bigger than just in Nigeria. It's across the region, and ISIS making such a very daring move should be looked in. I remember that when we had the fallout of the girls being kidnapped in 2014, that was the Jonathan administration, President Francois Hollande, then of France, and a couple of African leaders came together. They had a Paris Security Summit, talked about how they can bring about security in this region. There's still massive insecurity across board. Isn't it something we should look at again? Because Africa needs to have its own proper security network that is all-encompassing. Yeah, the West will come. They will say what they'll do. But if you remember, just like what happened in Mali, it was still Nigeria that had to clear the Crocs after the French came in with their Raphael fighters to clear, to do just a quick operation. But the Nigerian troops still stayed back and did most of the work in Mali. So Africa needs to start looking for solutions to its own security problems. And it's really incumbent on us to do that quickly because these guys are not abating. ISIS is not abating. They've got an ideology. Just imagine what happened in France. Somebody was slaughtered because he showed a picture, very gory in a class of children. And the French people came out yesterday. It just pretty much reminds you of the Charlie Hebdo. So there's an ideology behind it. And I'm going to say this very strongly. I don't think it represents, Islam in any way. These are fundamentalists. Just you have Christian fundamentalists. The guy that killed a lot of young people in the island of Utøya in Norway, Andre Breivik, he was a Christian fundamentalist who just came out and killed. So these are fundamentals that we should deal with, and they should face the full wrath of the law. That's what I'm just going to say about that, about the insecurity situation.
Lefene, if we still have a little time...
The Norwegian murderer is not a Christian fundamentalist, never described as such. Well, it was never described as such, just for the records. So please, go on.
Come back home. It would be nice to have your thoughts on the protest and the decision of the protesters to shut down the country, beginning from today. Already we're getting reports in parts of Lagos. People cannot get to their offices. People cannot get to work. People cannot move around. Every part, major parts of Lagos have been shut down. Arterial roads in Abuja have also been shut down. Is that a good strategy?
Well, these protesters, we know is going to get to this. Somehow, we have to look for a way to resolve this matter. If the president comes out today and speak to his children, like you earlier described, I'm sure there will be some calm. The president not speaking, people speaking on his behalf, Aisha Buhari taking the front stage does not help anybody. The president needs to come out and address the nation. He needs to come out and address the nation. I'm sure that will pour some cold water in the already tense atmosphere and the tense situation on the streets across major cities in the country. We need to start from there. What we know is that this protest, the way it's been organized, seem to be waxing strong, gathering momentum, expanding its scope, expanding its demands, as it were. So I think the earlier the president weigh in seriously, and I want to believe before he speaks, a lot of strategizing must have been done to hit the right chord, to hit the right notes that will make impact on these young Nigerians.
Okay. Thank you so much for that valid point, Mr. Efeni.